Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cop Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of yous are having a fantastic day wherever you are around the world. Hopefully, everyone's done a good Monday. Hopefully, so far. Again, a bit weird this weekend with there being no football, but we are here, of course, to talk about the latest Liverpool news. Of course, obviously, tomorrow's show will be, of course, the match preview show for the PSG game. Again, Champions League football is back, and of course, it is now the important stage of the Champions League, with it being, of course, obviously the knockout stages and so on as well. But again, let me know how all of you are in the comments down below as well. Hopefully everyone's good. Hopefully everyone's well. If you are new around here, of course, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Hopefully hopefully everyone is well. Hopefully everyone's had a fantastic day, like I said, and hopefully everyone is well and all good as well. But yeah, let us know your guys' thoughts on everything that we do mention. Of course, as you can see by the thumbnail and the title, we are going to be talking about Alexander Isak. Of course, the rumored bids flying around. Of course, you can tell the summer is close upon us, can't you? Of course, but again, we will be talking, of course, about Alexander Isak. We'll also be talking about Anthony Gordon as well. Going to be missing, of course, the Carabao Cup final after his red card on the weekend against Brighton, which again, it was a stupid red card. Let's be honest. For Anthony Gordon, we'll talk a little bit about that as well. We'll talk, of course, about Conor Bradley getting a new contract as well. There's been rumors about that today as well. We'll discuss that in due time as well. And we're also going to discuss Joshua Kimmich and the rumors flying around that Liverpool rejected Joshua Kimmich back in the previous summer transfer window as well. So we'll talk all about that in today's episode anyway. But again, let me know all of you are in the comments. And like I said, if you are new around here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And please help us on our way to 2K, because I believe we are, is it 2 or 3 away from 1.9K at the minute? So again, that'd be brilliant if we can get that done in the next few days anyway. But Mark saying, yeah, I'm doing good. How are you? I'm very good. Thank you, Mark. Hopefully everyone else is good as well. Ronan says, bring the Swedish Maverick in, my striker as well. Hopefully doing well, mate. Saying 120 mil. I hope we can get him for. Yeah, well, I'm going to talk a little bit about that because, of course, obviously there's been the rumors on the price and so on. And again, I think there is certain things that needs to happen for it to come down a little bit. But yeah, I do think obviously the maximum, I think you are looking above 150 potentially as well, but we will talk about that a bit more later on. Mark saying, did he get it deliberately so he didn't have to play for us? Maybe, potentially, but there is a possibility as well. Evening hero as well, hopefully doing well. And yeah, definitely Mark as well anyway. But let's talk then about the Anthony Gordon red card then, because yeah, looking at it, as of things right now, he will miss, of course, the League Cup final against Liverpool, of course, picking up the straight red card for, could you call it violent conduct, really? You know, slapping somebody on the back of the head that Anthony Gordon did do. And like at the end of the day, pretty much, you know, I feel like it was an action that could have been avoided, really. I know obviously a few Newcastle supporters were like, oh, you know, when it happened, of course, obviously he was offside, so does it really count, really? And could that be a bonus for Newcastle in terms of their appeal against the red card? And I don't think it will be any use for him. Like, look, at the end of the day, that was complete head loss. There was a lot of head loss, wasn't it, over the past weekend? You know, Anthony Gordon's red card, and Matthias Cunha as well. I've decided to absolutely, you know, batter everyone. I think he tried to, what was it, headbutt, kick, and karate chop Milos Kerkez as well. But overall, again, I know obviously a lot of Newcastle fans were disappointed with his actions, and again, it's kind of a repetitive thing with Newcastle leading up to League Cup finals. I think Nick Pope obviously got sent off against Liverpool, famously, which allowed Loris Karius to obviously come back in and obviously play that final, which I think a lot of Newcastle supporters to genuinely feel like that was a big reason for them not winning the Carabao Cup. Of course, and when you look at it like that, of course, obviously a big player for them, Anthony Gordon now, and you think of who they could play on the left-hand side, again, you're not really too sure. Could they, they'll most likely probably play Harvey Barnes there. But again, I think everybody would agree that, Anthony Gordon is miles better than Harvey Barnes. But of course, obviously with the injury hiccups with Alexander Isak as well, again, their attack has now just been dealt a massive blow leading up to the final. And I think overall, he can't have nobody to blame but himself. It's as simple as that. And I don't think he'll get rescinded. I don't think Newcastle will win the appeal. But I do think, again, it's so stupid for Anthony Gordon. But I think the funny side of it, of course, is the fact that he won't play against Liverpool, the team that he supports, which, again, is a funny thing, really, when you actually take that into consideration, to be fair anyway. But Mark says it was a stupid red card to get. Absolutely, it was. Look, the ball's gone. You're offside. I think, was it a tussle with... Was it Webster? I think it was. And yeah, it was just completely unavoidable. But again, I know obviously a few Newcastle supporters would turn around and say, well, it was an offside. If the linesman gets his flag up earlier, Anthony Gordon wouldn't be in that position to obviously do that. But still, look, it was just stupid, realistically. And the red card's absolutely deserved as well. But he wants to be in the stands with the Scousers as well. Yeah, he'd be on the red side instead of the black and white side anyway, which, look, at the end of the day, I think a few Newcastle supporters were like, Jesus Christ, yeah, they had to go and do that anyway. But no, he will miss the cup final. As things stand, of course, by some miracle, Newcastle may end up winning that appeal. But again, I don't think so. I think he will definitely miss the Carabao Cup final, which hopefully, for Newcastle supporters, they'll be hoping and praying that Alexander Isak is completely fit for that game. Of course, because we saw at Anfield, what the game was against Newcastle. Liverpool dominated that game. And yeah, I think Newcastle, if they can have some sort of output in Isak, of course, they'll hope and dream. But again, I think Liverpool will be too much for them on the day for the Carabao Cup final, which is in, a week now, is it? Is it a week Sunday? The final is, so look, it is coming thick and fast as well. Can Arne Slot win his first Liverpool trophy? I absolutely hope so. Anyway, but we will move on and we will talk then, of course, about Joshua Kimmich. Now, Kimmich's name consistently at the moment is getting linked with Premier League clubs. It's not only Liverpool. Again, Arsenal have been spoken about. I think even Chelsea as well have also been spoken about when it comes to Joshua Kimmich. Anyway, but there was a bit of news around Joshua Kimmich that I wanted to share you guys of this. Obviously, it is coming from Anfield Sector, saying that Joshua Kimmich was offered to Liverpool, but the club rejected him. It is coming from George Heilsler, I think it is. Apologies for any pronunciation that I do get wrong. But yeah, it did come from him. Obviously, he's a reporter from Kicker, and again is linked to of course Bayern Munich as well, obviously with the likes of Florian Plintenberg and of course Christian Falk. But again, Joshua Kimmich has been one of these players that's consistently been linked to Liverpool over the last two summers, I would say. Of course, now on the face of it, again, top player for Bayern Munich. He's been a very good player for Bayern Munich. But if you guys are regular on the channel, for me, I've never wanted Joshua Kimmich at Liverpool. And again, you guys will know, if you're long-time viewers, how much I love Thiago Alcantara. And people will go, oh, well, Kimmich is, it'd be a better signing for Liverpool than Joshua Kimmich. Joshua Kimmich would be a better signing than Thiago. And in many ways, yeah, sure, people might be right. Again, can play in a number of positions. Of course, can play as a six, can play as a right back. Obviously, this season, I played more of a right back at Bayern Munich. But I feel like Joshua Kimmich has been on the decline for a massive amount of time. And when you've watched a few Bayern Munich games, I've watched Bayern Munich a couple of times, obviously last season at the Bundesliga, and watching them, even this season a little bit, and even a bit before that as well, certainly in the Champions League and the Bundesliga. it feels like Joshua Kimmich is losing a step or two. And again, that's a little bit, I think, down to obviously the consistent playing time. Joshua Kimmich's injury history is very, very good when you actually look at it, and you actually compare it around to other players in Europe that have played similar minutes. Again, his injury record is outstanding when you actually look at it. And I think, again, in terms of like actual injuries, he hasn't really had any over the last 4, 5, 6 years. It's all been like viruses or cold, and for example, as well. But for me, I just don't know. I personally wouldn't want Joshua Kimmich at Liverpool. I wouldn't personally. I do think, for me, I would definitely. I definitely wouldn't want him at Liverpool. And again, I might be in the wrong. And again, if the club feel like, again, Joshua Kimmich is the right player, then again, I'd 100% stand with the football club. But in my personal opinion, I wouldn't want Joshua Kimmich because there has been a decline there. He's moved from the 6 back to right back, which again is not usually a good sign. But again, the wage demand as well is a huge problem, I feel, because supposedly Liverpool are having a little bit of problems in terms of again could potentially have problems, I should say, in terms of again Van Dijk, Salah, Trent contracts. Again, the rumors are at the minute that Kimmich could be on or could ask for 350 grand a week, which in the Premier League, he's absolutely not getting that. I think at the moment at Bayern Munich, I think he gets around 310 million euros a week, which again, I say million, not 310 million, 310,000 euros a week, which again is about 280 million pounds, I think it is at the moment. Again, he's not getting that at Liverpool. Absolutely not getting that at Liverpool, for sure. And look, I know obviously Arsenal have been linked. I know Chelsea have also been linked as well. Could that intertwine one another? Again, Arsenal will want replacements, of course, in the summer because they're supposedly losing Thomas Partey, they're losing Zinchenko, they're losing, versatile players. So they'll be looking around for a similar player like Joshua Kimmich. But if you're talking above £200,000 per week, again, you can have him because, of course, he is on a free transfer in the summer. But again, I don't want to be paying over 200k a week for a 30-year-old Joshua Kimmich. No. And Joshua Kimmich, who I think is declining. But again, the football club might disagree. Arne Slot may disagree. Of course, he may want a Joshua Kimmich at the club and want that type of player at the football team, the football club. Sorry, but again, I think you can get better for again age, quality at the moment, of course, as well. Because again, Kimmich back 4 or 5 years ago, 100%. I would have loved Liverpool to have signed Joshua Kimmich. But over the last 2 or 3 seasons, you've seen the slow decline of him. And again, that's not his fault. Again, the amount of football he's played over the last, 3, 4, 5 years, it's been unbelievable. You look at Andy Robertson, Robbo has played an unbelievable amount of football, where now you're starting to see the decline really of Andy Robbo. And again, that's not really his fault. It's just because of the amount of football he's played as well, which is a shame, realistically. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below as well. Anyway, but Ronan says, do you think Slot can fix Isak? He's good with keeping players fit. Yeah, I do think so. I think at the minute I think one of the best things, and I think one of the things that I think when we did win the Premier League back in 1920, I don't think many people really congratulated. I think the whole fitness department. I think we really kept everybody fit. And when you actually look at it, of course, it was only really Ox, I think, in that season that was out for a big period of time. I think obviously the main 13, 14, 15 players were fit pretty much the entire season. And obviously in COVID, it got completely destroyed. But obviously now with the new manager and obviously the new regime at the football club, it does feel like we've kept players available for a bigger period of time. Like Ibu Konate, all right, I know Ibu was out for a month, but he has stayed relatively fit for the season, and it's kind of been like that over the last over the last season that we've really kept players fit, which is a good thing as well. But yeah, the Kimmich boat has sailed. Glad somebody agrees with me. Anyway, but that's remnants of YouTube. Go and check out his YouTube channel as well. Thank you, Mark, for that as well. Javazin saying Kimmich number 6, buy him Liverpool as well. I would disagree, unfortunately, mate. But again, people will want Joshua Kimmich as well, which again, you're not wrong for that as well. Absolutely not. But pick up John as well, saying Belieber from Brighton is the midfielder I think we should go for. I would agree. I think Belieber is a very, very good talent. But again, the only problem is Brighton are going to ask a stupid amount of money, which is a shame. To be fair, but look, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? See what happens, really. But Belieber is mustard as well. It depends who we move on and what cost we save on. Yeah, like again, I know that I think it was David Lynch mentioned that he thinks there'll be one midfielder in and one midfielder out. I'm gonna say it again. I wouldn't rule out us going for Xavi Simons. Again, is Xavi Simons my cup of tea? Not really. I think Liverpool could do better. I think we could keep better. Really, I think Harvey Elliott. I know obviously Arne Slot clearly doesn't rate Harvey so highly, which is a shame. But I feel like I'd much rather keep hold of Harvey Elliott than spend 60-70 million on Xavi Simons. And again, like, all right, in the Dutch national team, that's okay. Again, I'm not going to say I watch Leipzig week in, week out, because I don't. But, what I've seen of him, it's kind of like, a decent player, but is he worth 70-80 million pounds? No, I don't think he is, personally anyway. But again, so other people might rate Xavi Simons, to be fair, but 100% agree with you on that, Mark. Anyway, but would he be first choice for that position? Again, we have to wait and see. FSG should open their wallet, spend big on Isak, a 6 and a proper left back as well. I would say, the wish list for me, because I know obviously Fabrizio Romano mentioned. We haven't got it, in the show, but I know Romano did mention again Kerkez with Liverpool, mentioning Kerkez in terms of, in terms of being on Liverpool's radar, which again, is expected, with Richard Hughes at the helm, and so on. But I think Liverpool this summer, we didn't spend big in the previous summer. I think we have to go and not so much like we have to go big in the window, because we don't, and I don't think people should have that type of expectation. I don't think Liverpool should, spend 150 million if they don't think it's the right player, and look, obviously me saying that, of course, Alexander Isak, he's a wonderful striker, of course he is, but if the club feel like he's not the right guy and they think the other person is the right guy, but he costs 50 million, then the club shouldn't, fans shouldn't then go, oh, but why are we going to sign Isak? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? It's like, come on, the club knows what they're doing, or the majority of the time they know what they're doing. I think under obviously this regime, they know especially what they're doing, really. And I think, of course, Liverpool can go big for Isak. They can, and not be worried about it, because depending on what Liverpool win this season as well, Liverpool can spend big, and let's remember this as well. Like, look at Manchester City, for example. When they went on and won everything, they went and spent £100 million on Jack Grealish. Did they need to go and spend 100 million on Jack Grealish? No, they didn't. But they went and did it because they knew they wanted that type of player, and of course they wanted him ASAP, and of course he had that clause in his contract. But Liverpool could do the same, and of course we can spend big now without selling anybody, but if Darwin Núñez leaves to Saudi, if Luis Diaz does go this summer as well, like just with Darwin Núñez alone, Liverpool are going to have 75 million. If that bid is still there that was in January, which I think everybody expects it will be, But then you've also got the aspect then of, what happens if not only the Saudi clubs want him? What happens if, an Italian team wants him, or, a German club wants him, or, some other clubs are interested in signing Darwin Núñez? You get that interest up then, of course. And then I do think the 75 million will still be there in the summer. Of course it will be. Darwin, I think, has still got, 2 years left on his contract? 100% Liverpool can get. Is it 2 or 3 years left on his contract? I think we can easily get that again. And you just look at that. Liverpool use that 75 million and push it ahead towards Alexander Isak. Look, 100% we can get him. But of course, it does also depend on what happens, in certain aspects, which we'll get onto in a little bit anyway. But big up Ozan as well. Hope you're doing well, mate. Mark saying, still not sure if we keep Alisson for another season. I think we do. I think we keep him for one more. I think next season's pairing will be Alisson and Mamadashvili. And then, of course, we'll unfortunately sell Kelleher, which, again, how much are you selling him for in the summer? Because I think you could easily get, 30 million? Could you get a bit more? Probably. But I think as a bare minimum, I think 30 million easily you could get for Isak. I wish we could get Alexander Isak for 30 mil. Kelleher, we could easily get 30 mil. I think if we keep Mo, Isak could hit 30 prime goals. Mo is so good. Is that good? And Isak is that good as a finisher, in my opinion? Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think Isak now is on... Is he on 22 league goals, I think, at the minute as well? So, yeah, 100%. They could easily work off each other as well. I expected more from Núñez. I can still see him a lot off of the club, but we'll keep. Will we keep him? No, unfortunately, no. I think the writing's on the wall, really, which is unfortunate. Because again, I wanted Darwin Núñez when we was. Again, you can go back and watch the videos on the channel, when we were speaking about strikers and so on. I was hugely for Darwin Núñez. Still am. I think, again, Darwin Núñez does have everything to be a top-class striker in Europe, but unfortunately, it just hasn't happened at Liverpool. But I guarantee it, if he went to Italy or went somewhere else, even La Liga, I think if he went to La Liga, I think he would score 20 goals in a season for sure. But again, yeah, that is unfortunately not the way it works, sadly anyway. But evening, Doug, as well. Hope you're doing well, mate. Núñez is done, Mark, in my opinion. Yeah, I think other people have that same opinion, unfortunately. But I see that Newcastle have appealed the Gordon red card. No way that gets rescinded. He pushed running goal with two hands. Well, but he slapped him in the back, didn't he, Doug? Really. But yeah, I know, but never reached his max potential. Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part with Darwin Núñez, really, because look, he would have been amazing at the football club if he had reached his full potential, but unfortunately, it just hasn't worked out, which is a shame, because when you actually look at it and look at his, style and how Liverpool play as well, you go, how hasn't it worked? How hasn't Liverpool got the best out of Darwin Núñez? And I think it is just certain aspects of it where himself as well. Like, I think, not to, what's him at Michael Owen, because Michael Owen, everybody hates Michael Owen, but he said it perfectly. Darwin Núñez picks the hardest chances to finish. Look at the Brentford game last season, where I think he dinked the goalkeeper, where he could have just gone around, or he could have just made a simple pass to Jota to finish an open goal. Like, that's the thing. But also saying that, Darwin Núñez can be a very clutch player. Look at Brentford this season. It comes on, scores two goals to, obviously, by the looks of it, to win Liverpool the Premier League title. And when you look at that, you're like, well, why can't that be consistent? Because if it could be consistent, again, you'll be speaking about Darwin Núñez being the top, being top of the goal scoring sheets, along with Mo Salah, as well. Anyway, but Isak, Belieber, Kyrgyz, Hato, perfect window for me. I think that would be a perfect window for a lot of people, for sure. I think it'd be a very, very top window, wouldn't it? I think for me, like again, we will bring in 4 or 5 top quality players, but it will, of course, depend on who does leave as well. But Mark's saying, but the rest might do it because he plays us next as well. Yeah, it'd be funny, wouldn't it? Someone said to me in work today that they can see another 9-0 happening this season. Could it be Saturday with how poor Southampton have been playing? No, I don't think so. Just purely because if it is like 3 or 4-0 to Liverpool, you know for a fact Arnold Slot's going to be rotating. You know, was it the what game was it? We were winning like 2 or 3-0, and he just changes everything, and then we end up conceding pretty late from of it. I was in Anfield a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember the game, but yeah, I don't think it'll be another 9-0. Look, if it's against Manchester United, then you know, I'm all for it. I'm really all for it as well. But I think the PGMOL will rescind the Gordon suspension because of money. Will they? No, I don't think they will. To be fair, you know what? I was speaking to somebody earlier about it. Are we sure Michael Oliver is the best referee in the Premier League? He had the Merseyside derby performance. That was awful to begin with. But that Millwall keeper, that foul, I call it a foul, it was nearly a decapitation. That's what it was realistically. Are we sure he can even qualify to be a referee? Like, the fact that he has not sent him off straight away, and if you guys have seen the image where he's looking directly at it, I'm sorry, there's no excuse for it. Like, he should be sacked from the PGMOL because that was awful on Mateta, like so bad as well. But the goalkeeper should 100% be banned for longer than that. I was trying to think earlier on as well. Was Sadio Mane banned for longer than 3 games for the Edison one? But yeah, either way, the rest do manipulate games either to make the league look better and to try and promote it on how action-filled it is for big bucks. Yeah, like look at the Newcastle game. Like whoever the referee was in that game, like Bruno Camara should have been sent off during that game. He was like so long. Bruno Camara. I don't even think Bruno Camara's got a yellow card in that game, but there were so many opportunities where, again, he just swipes McAllister, swipes Gravenberch. Like, he should have been sent off at least 3 times just in the game. He didn't even get a yellow card. But yeah, it just depends on the referee, innit? Like, because I feel like now, certainly in the Prem, you either get a referee who just lets the game flow and doesn't book players or keep bookings to a minimum, or they're just flying out left, right, and centre. Like the Merseyside derby, you know. And well, we all know the red card situation in that factor, but still stupid. Yeah, the Ipswich game. Thank you, Doug. No, Oliver is a snake. Yeah, absolutely. How on earth he missed that is scary. I think it's another sign that referees rely on VAR and that aspect of the game, where realistically, it's right in front of you. You don't need VAR in that aspect, and you don't. You know, it's directly at you. Like I said, if anybody has seen the photo of him just like looking at it, and he's looking directly at it, and he doesn't give it, like that for me is hilariously bad. But yeah, look, it could be worse. Anyway, but what else we have? No, there was 3. It was only 3 matches, was it? I did think that all our players can get studded with no repercussions. Yeah, absolutely, it's mad. It is mad, to be fair. It's ridiculous. They are not waiting to make the big decisions anymore. VAR is taking the decision making away. Yeah, and exactly. And this is the thing. See, like, the thing I would look at it, right, and it's kind of like one thing that's a little bit annoying, right? I'd like the referee, right, to make his own decision, but what I also think is kind of like how rugby is doing it now, how they'll give a yellow card. Now, obviously, don't take them off the pitch, but give the yellow card, review it. There's no breaking play. Review it quickly, and then if it is deemed then it needs to be a red card, let the referee go and make a decision by himself. Shouldn't be the fact that they're talking to them. Neither. They should be like, right, we've seen something. If you want to, make a decision, go and have a look yourself. The referee makes the full decision then, just looking at another replay at it. But they have made it so hard for just simple things nowadays, and it's like working with bricks. Like, they confuse everything. It's like the Mo Salah foul the other night, the Lewis Hall. Like, somehow that's given us a foul on Lewis Hall. It's never like it's a penalty for Mo Salah. Like, and the fact that VAR didn't even acknowledge it really, because the referee made the decision that Mo Salah fouled Lewis Hall. No, he didn't. Lewis Hall fell over, took out Mo Salah, and that should have been a penalty because of that. But yeah, look, we could just laugh at these referees, really, can't we? At the end of the month, all the refs should have their games checked. But yeah, you need to do a lot more than that. Check them on, throw them on in the bin. Big up Gary as well, saying sadly VAR don't get the decisions right either. Yeah, absolutely. Taliol being Conor, can you play 6? That kick on Mateta was criminal. Yeah, it was. And yes, I can play the 6, to be fair, but it's still on human interpretation. Yeah, but the thing is, I genuinely think a blind person could do a better job than some of these referees, because they are making stupid decisions. Realistically, anyway, but look, that's a whole other conversation. Anyway, but we'll move on then, and we'll talk a bit about Conor Bradley then, of course, because Conor Bradley looks like he's getting a new contract. Of course, it is taken from Ian Doyle. Of course, it is quoted from Paul Gore, saying that Liverpool are in talks with Conor Bradley over a new contract, with the club keen to reward the Northern Ireland international for his progress over the last year or so. So again, on this, are we feeling optimistic about it? How are we feeling on it? Because for me, does this leave a bit of a hinkling, of course, around Trent Alexander-Arnold's contract? You could very well put 2 and 2 together. For me, I think Liverpool will want to, of course, upgrade on his contract, because of course, the conversations have been that Liverpool are looking to give contracts out at the moment. Obviously Ibu, there's been talks about Ibu for a while. Now with Conor Bradley, of course, obviously we know with the big three, with Virgil van Dijk, obviously Mo Salah and Trent. But of course, there's also been discussions with Arne Slot as well. If you guys didn't see on social media, I think it was yesterday, that Liverpool are looking to give Arne Slot a new contract as well. Because I think he earns around, £6.5 million. But of course, I think obviously with him winning the Premier League, I think they'll want to reward him with a brand new contract as well. So again, I'm okay with this. Keeping Conor Bradley down for long-term future, again, sound with that. I don't think it's an awfully bad thing or bad sign, really. But again, I think he 100% deserves a new deal as well. And look, he's been fantastic when he's been called upon. Again, yes, there is maybe, of course, 1 or 2 things that he can learn upon. But again, look, he's only 20, 21. He's going to get better through age, of course. So again, look, I think looking at Conor Bradley and looking for the future, again, can be a really, really good player for Liverpool in the future. Is he at the moment, an absolute starter for Liverpool? I would say no, not as of yet. But I think obviously give him a couple of years, and I think Conor Bradley could be a very, very good player at right back for the club. We've seen already this season, basically putting Mbappe in his back pocket for a big period of time, which I think, look, again, he can only develop off of that types of performances. But in general, again, I'm happy with Conor Bradley as the backup right back. But again, obviously the big one is, will Trent resign? And I think, look, that will be the hopeful dream if we can get Conor Bradley on a better contract and, of course, get Trent to sign that contract. I think that would be, a very, very good bit of business from Liverpool. But, of course, that's the big one. Will Trent resign? And that is yet to be seen anyway. But, again, let me know your guys' thoughts on Conor Bradley as well. Getting a new deal, which, again, I think he deserves. 100% he deserves. But well-deserved new contract as well from Ozan. Yeah, that's a great deal. Also get Slot signed up as well. Yeah, absolutely. As well. Jesus Christ. Hello, Luke. I've just... the worst part about it is, right, you've spelt my name wrong. Like, I know it's Luke or it's Ben, and I know it's one of you two, but you've spelt my name wrong. Like, get it right. You can just look on social media. Look at Jesus Christ. Who's Luke? Fuck off, Luke. Connor's only on 10k per week right now. Tie him down to a long-term deal and give him what he wants as well, like out everyone else, to be fair. I think Salah is done. He looked very happy and is having fun the last game as well. I do think, like, again, speaking about the contracts, I do think Virgil and Mo are done. I think that's the general consensus right now. I think both of them are done. I think every single journo saying that, Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah, they're optimistic with them re-signing. It's like, yeah, we know, we know that both of them have signed. Like, there's no, I think, hiding that now. I think, look, the club need to, again, in March, need to sort things out in terms of, again, and they won't really put it out, the fact that Trent's not signing a new deal, because again, we've got Champions League games to come up. We've got we've got very important Premier League games to come up, because again, look, we all think Liverpool are going to win the Premier League, but mathematically it's not done yet. So we need to get that sorted first, and then they'll talk about contracts. But I think, like we said right now, that Trent won't re-sign. And then unfortunately, Trent won't re-sign, and then the other two will stay, which again, I think we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, what on earth is going on in this chat anyway? But Bradley signing makes sense. Who's Connor? Connor Bradley. But Talio Bean, Talio Middlebean. Jesus Christ, what on earth is going on in this chat tonight? Anyway, but let's talk then about Alexander Isak. Then let's discuss, of course, what we're meant to be talking about anyway. So as you guys can see on the screen right now, in terms of speaking about Alexander Isak, it is saying that Liverpool are in contact with Alexander Isak's representatives and are prepared to make an offer in the summer. Newcastle's price tag is £150 million. Of course, this has come from Sacha, who, again, you guys would have known in the summer of, what was it, 2023? Of course, when the whole Lavia situation was, being spoken about, and again, obviously saying that Lavia was going to sign for Liverpool and this, that, and the other, and of course, it's only come from him. Which, look, I think for me, I look at it and I go, look, 100% Liverpool should go all in for Alexander Isak. I think I've said this for a while now, that I think for me, we'd 100% benefit from getting Isak. Having a front three of Cody Gakpo, Alexander Isak, and Mo Salah, like that is easily the best front three in the Premier League, let alone Europe. I think it would be the best in Europe as well, of course. And like we did say earlier on, I do think the only problems with us potentially getting Isak is Champions League. And I do think if Newcastle wasn't to get Champions League football, then we end up getting him, and whether or not that's a 150, 120, like, again, I think that will fluctuate because, again, whether or not the Champions League, and also whether or not if Alexander Isak, could potentially ask for a transfer request, considering, again, I think he has 3 years left on his deal in the summer, of course. But look, I think for me, I would want Isak, and I want Liverpool to go all in for him. Like, you guys have spoken about it, I've spoken about it. I think if you want to make a marquee signing, again, he would be the one, and it would be a position where, barring injuries, again, you've got then you have striker for the next 5 to 6 years. In terms of, again, Alexander Isak, he's just turned 25. He's going to turn 25, I should say. Again, he's been the guy for Newcastle that, again, apart from Haaland, you would say is the best striker in the league overall. But I just do think I would think that Liverpool would go all in for him. And as well, with the funds potentially being freed up by Darwin Núñez leaving the football club, Luis Diaz also leaving. Again, I do think, just seen the chat, I do think Liverpool will go all in for him. And we should do, because look, if you want to go and win back-to-back Premier League titles, again, what a great start it would be by going and signing Alexander Isak, which, look, hopefully we do end up doing anyway. But overall, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below, because again, the only way I do think we end up getting him is if they don't get Champions League. If they do get Champions League football, I think he'll stay for maybe one more year, and then whether or not, depending on if Liverpool potentially move on from Isak and look at somebody else, I think that's also something we need to kind of talk about with it, is, again, if Liverpool don't get Alexander Isak, who do they go and get? Because, again, there is plenty of names out there. But again, we have to wait and see for it anyway. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. And I don't know what on earth you lot are doing in the chat. Yeah. I think Kirkes and Belieber are spot on. What is all the bean talk? Yeah, I don't have a clue. What on earth are you lot chatting about in the comments anyway? But look, let me know your guys' thoughts on Isak anyway, because I do think Liverpool will try to sign him. I know Arsenal will try as well, but I don't know. I think there's a difference, I think, between Liverpool and Arsenal, where I think for us, depending on who leaves and who stays, again, I think Liverpool have a better opportunity to sign Isak because, again, obviously Premier League champions. If Liverpool go and win the Champions League, that's another bonus to it as well. But I also think that, again, we don't need to replace as much as what Arsenal does. Like, you look at them and you go, yeah, they need a striker, but they also need a defensive midfielder. They need a left winger. They need a defender. They need this, that, and the other. And okay, well, Liverpool need a defender. We need left back. We need a centre back potentially. But the outstanding player in Liverpool's team is striker. But again, we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, but again, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Be stupid to not go in for him either way. Yeah, true. Absolutely true. But again, if Liverpool bid 120 million and it gets rejected, then I don't want us to play around with it, really. I'm kind of like, look, if Liverpool go all in for him and Newcastle start to play games and they're like, oh yeah, we're not going to accept 120, 130 million. If you go to 150, Liverpool goes up to 150 and they're like, oh, we kind of want 160, 170. I'll be like, no, move on from it, because I would do that, because then, look, I think you could easily go and get better players. Not better players, sorry, better signings from other clubs in terms of price and in terms of, again, they'll want to do better deals for it as well. Like, yeah, as again, Cal Saint Sesko, Isak, and Intika as well. Yeah, I think Intika, again, perfect alternative for Alexander Isak. Low balling only makes us look stupid. 100%. 100% it does. Austin says, does his groin injuries concern you though, Con? A bit like Stevie G's groin injury record. A little bit, but I think Newcastle is stupid though in that sense as well, because like again, surely Callum Wilson is good enough for them to play an FA Cup game against Brighton. Considering you've got a League Cup final in 2 weeks, and then they risk Isak. He's just failed a fitness test against Liverpool, and then you've decided to go, oh yeah, we'll put him back in and play him for 90 minutes. What? Like, it's stupid. It's stupid game management from Eddie Howe and the Newcastle medical department, because surely you'd all right, put him on the bench, if you do need him, again, they did need him, in some ways, against Brighton towards the end, because obviously the red card and so on as well. But realistically, they could have played Callum Wilson up top and been completely fine. But they decided to go start Isak, and then he came off injured, and now he's an injury doubt again going into the League Cup final, which again you're already short because Anthony Gordon got sent off. Like, when you look at it on that side of things, you're like, well, surely they should have made sense and kept him away for a little bit again on the weekend. Now again, he might have played and been 100% okay, but again, this Liverpool medical department has done wonders this season. But again, we'd have to wait and see for the summer anyway. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts anyway in the comments down below on everything we've mentioned tonight, of course. But every player is a gamble, to be honest. With injuries, will they fit into the team? Player management is always an issue. Yeah, absolutely. Mark, anyway. But yeah, like I said, if you are new around here, please hit the like button. We've had we've absolutely had absolute stinkers at the football club, for sure anyway. But I am going to leave it there for tonight, guys. Anyway, big thank you for everyone for tuning in to the show. I do very much appreciate it, as always. Again, let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Your thoughts on Alexander Isak. I think for me, I think Liverpool will go in for him. I think it's the clear indication right now that Liverpool are keeping an eye on him, because I think what's also interesting that we didn't really mention, Liverpool reporters haven't really shut down the Isak talk neither. Like, normally if there's a player out there that gets spoken about or gets rumored or linked, normally you'd have the usual suspects come out and reject it and go, yeah, Liverpool are not interested in him, or this, that, and the other. But there's been no talk of that when it comes to Isak. And I think that's a sign that Liverpool are very much looking at Isak for the summer, for sure anyway. But like I said, tomorrow will be the match preview show for Newcastle, for PSG. It will be the Champions League match preview tomorrow as well. I am trying to get a PSG fan on as things stand, so maybe there might not be an opposition preview on Wednesday morning anyway, but I'm trying to work on that anyway. But like we said, keep your eyes out anyway for videos on the channel. Of course, I know you guys have seen a few things lately on the channel, so make sure you're tuned in, make sure you're hitting the notification bells as well anyway. But big up to Mark as well, for doing well as well, and thanks everyone. I hate this term, keep an eye on players. We have so many let us know if we bid or what or want them. Yeah, just keep an eye on them, Mark. Anyway, bigger balls done as well, so see you in the next stream when you get your haircut. Probably Wednesday, really. I need a cut for sure. It's grown out way too long now, so yeah, probably Wednesday I'm getting my hair cut. Anyway, but like I said, until next time, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. It probably will be, it might be same time tomorrow, 8 p.m, maybe a bit earlier, because of the Champions League game, so it might be 8 p.m tomorrow. I have to have a look anyway, but make sure you are tuned in, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button, all that good stuff anyway, and have your notification bell ready anyway, or simply keep an eye on the community tab and follow us on Twitter, because we'll post when we're going live for the shows anyway. But until next time, guys, that's going to be it from me. I've been Connor from the COP Council. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Ta-ra.